The Solar Starfire Warlock is something you've surely already heard about, and for good reason. It's got infinite grenades, rifts, healing, supers, and the best consistent ability damage in the entire game. Despite the commonality of this build, however, there are some massive misconceptions regarding how it actually functions. My goal today is to clear up those misconceptions and give you my take on the classic Starfire Warlock, along with how to build it with mods that will be sticking around in Lightfall, and most importantly, how to play it to perfection. And considering you're sure to get hungry while launching grenades on stream all day, getting gifted a snack from your community through this video's sponsor, Throne, can come in super clutch. Throne is a privacy-first, highly engaging dream come true for content creators and their communities that love to support them, by offering a way for fans to surprise their favorite creators with snacks, clothes, gaming gear, and literally anything else from their Throne wishlist. I'm a big snack addict personally, so I've got a few treats on mine to help me power through those lengthy build guide editing sessions. Followers can suggest gifts too, perhaps their own favorite microphone they want a streamer to use, or maybe something even a bit more silly. It also has crowdfunding functionalities and gifter messages to help further the ways you can interact with your community. It's the perfect addition to any content creation platform and is completely private and safe, with no risk or worry of leaked addresses or other personal information on both sides. And even if you aren't a streamer, what better reason to start, considering you can sign up and create your Throne wishlist today in just 30 seconds by using the link in the description below. Big thanks to Throne. Now let's throw some grenades. So, step 1, the build. Our core abilities consist of the Fusion Grenade for fantastic damage and synergy with our exotic armor piece, Empowering Rift for those exact same reasons, Incinerator Snap for some weapon buff power-ups and ability cooldown refund from our mods, and Well of Radiance because it's the best super in the game. Our exotic armor piece is the notoriously ugly Starfire Protocol. Throw a like on this video to tell Bungie that you want a Starfire ornament in Lightfall. This exotic armor piece grants us an extra Fusion Grenade charge, grenade energy refund on empowered weapon hits, and refunds our class ability on grenade final blows. Empowered weapon hits, by the way, mean weapon hits while inside of an empowering rift or a Well of Radiance. Now, a huge misconception about this exotic is that the grenade energy refund from empowered weapon damage is based on damage dealt while inside of a rift or well, which is not entirely true. The way this exotic actually functions is that it refunds 20% of your grenade energy per weapon hit with a 0.3 second cooldown in between hits, meaning that the amount of damage you deal or the number of targets you hit at the same time have no relevance to how much grenade energy you are refunded in any capacity. Do me a favor and consider subscribing to the channel if you didn't know that before this video and love learning new things. Moving on to the rest of the build, our first aspect, granting 2 fragment slots, is Touch of Flame, which enhances the effects of all of our grenades. For the purposes of our build utilizing fusion grenades, Touch of Flame enhances fusions by having them detonate twice, meaning that basically 1 fusion grenade is equal to 2, and our 2 fusion grenades is equal to 4. The second aspect is actually up to you. Icarus Dash is going to be the automatic pick for most, but that's mainly because most don't know everything that the alternative option, Heat Rises, actually does. Everyone of course knows that it allows you to consume your grenade for increased airborne effectiveness, infinite glide, and a burst of healing for you and your allies. But what most don't know, since it doesn't actually say it on the aspect description, is that it also grants melee energy for airborne kills at all times. Icarus Dash certainly has its merits though, offering a lot of speed and maneuverability to get out of sticky situations or to speed through activities. And if you don't know how to move extremely quickly with Icarus Dash, let me show you. Using Icarus Dash while airborne and holding W or forward on the joystick doesn't move you all that far, but if you activate your burst glide a millisecond before hitting your air move button to activate your Icarus Dash, the burst of speed from your burst glide and the directional movement from Icarus Dash combine together to give you a much more noticeable movement boost. But it's entirely up to you which aspect to go with. If you feel that you can make good use out of the movement and maneuverability of Icarus Dash, I would recommend it since you aren't airborne too often to make good use of Heat Rise Rises with this build. However, Heat Rises certainly has its merits, specifically due to its ability to grant on-demand healing by consuming a grenade. But no matter which aspect you select, you'll end up with 4 available fragment slots, the first 2 of which we want to occupy with Ember of Char, which has ignitions apply scorch to enemies damaged by the explosion, and Ember of Ashes, which increases all scorch stack applications by 50%. Specifically, this brings our Fusion Grenade and Ember of Char ignition scorch stacks from 40 to 60, our Incinerator Snap scorch stacks from 20 to 30, and even the weapon perk Incandescence scorch stacks from 30 to 40. Not sure why Incandescent only has a 33% increase, I'm just the messenger. Our other 2 fragment slots will be filled with fragments that further help us regenerate our abilities, and for this goal you have 2 options. The first is great for team-based activities, in which you'll want to run Ember of Benevolence, which grants 200% bonus ability regeneration for 6 seconds after applying Cure, Radiant, or Restoration to allies. The main way you will proc this fragment is through Cure applications from Heat Rises, or Radiant applications with Ember of Torches, which grants you and all nearby allies Radiant for 8 seconds when dealing damage with a powered melee. Your other option for these 2 fragment slots is to run Ember of Singeing for 300% bonus class ability regeneration for 3 seconds when applying Scorch to enemies, and Ember of Eruption for increased ignition radius. Now, you might be thinking that some of these fragments sound useless given the rest of our kit. Why would you need ability regeneration when your Starfire protocol gives you so much? And why would you ever need Radiant when you can always be in an Empowering Rift or Well of Radiance? I don't blame you for thinking this, but the truth is that, realistically speaking, most of the solar fragments don't bring any benefits to Solar Warlock or this build in any capacity. So these seemingly unnecessary fragments are more due to lack of options rather than poor choices. However, that's not to say that they are completely useless by any means. Having more ways to regenerate your abilities guarantees that you will never be down a Rift or Grenade to begin your Starfire loot, and having an on-demand Radiant buff provides the option for a mobile weapon buff as opposed to the stationary Empowering Rift buff. As far as stats go, you'll want to prioritize Resilience first, Discipline second, Recovery third, and Intellect fourth. Now, mod setups are tough to recommend, with a lot of the combat style mods changing in Lightfall, so I tried to make a mod setup that I predict will either be identical or extremely similar in Lightfall compared to how it is today. As far as elemental affinities go, it's solar on all 5 pieces. Easy enough. And yes, I know elemental affinities are going away in Lightfall, but I still wanted to tell you anyway, since the next month of Warlocking will come with elemental affinity armor, and because I love you. We begin with 2 copies of Bomber on your class item for a 30% grenade refund on class ability cast, 1 copy of Impact Induction on your gloves for a 20% grenade refund when inflicting melee damage, and 1 copy of Ashes to Assets on your helmet for bonus super energy on grenade kills. It might make sense logically to run 2 copies of Ashes to Assets for even more super energy on grenade kills, but the bonus energy you get from the second copy is negligible enough to justify running something like Harmonic Siphon instead. Given that these 3 mods are not combat style mods, we can reliably bet that they won't be going anywhere in Lightfall. And although the same can't be said for the combat style mods that I am recommending today, I picked a setup that I imagine will be very similar, revolving around the current Charge with Light system, which will theoretically function pretty similarly as the new armor charge system in Lightfall. This setup begins with Elemental Ordnance on the helmet for elemental well generation on grenade kills, Bountiful Wells on the boots to double each elemental well, Elemental Charge on your class item to gain a stack of Charge with Light when picking up an elemental well, and 2 copies of Heal Thyself on your gloves and chest for a 50% maximum HP heal on grenade final blows at the cost of 1 stack of Charged with Light. Now, I know elemental wells are going away in Lightfall, but I'm extremely confident that there will be plenty of ways to become Charged with Light, or armor charged, in Lightfall through grenade usage, at which point you'll be able to continue to take advantage of mods like Heal Thyself, which I expect to be converted to work with the new mod system. And for your convenience, I've included a Destiny item manager link in the description for you to copy over every single thing in this build with just 1 click. If you want to click the like and subscribe buttons while you're down there too, then thank you, I appreciate it. Now, you know what this build does, but how does it work? Well, the idea behind this Warlock setup is twofold. In situations where you are looking to obliterate single tanky targets like bosses and champions, the ideal situation is to utilize your Empowering Rift or Well in conjunction with damage over time weapons like Wither Horde to be constantly throwing and refunding grenade energy for maximum damage and quick kills. Heavy weapons like rockets with perks like auto-loading holster are also incredible in these types of circumstances for the same reason that Wither Horde steals the show. In situations where you're looking to be more ad clear focused, however, things get slightly more complicated. You'll be tempted to park in your Empowering Rift and Well farming grenade damage whenever they are down, which if you're doing things right will be always, but scavenging the elemental wells to acquire charged with light stacks to proc heal thyself is incredibly important for making sure you have consistent healing during your grenade killing sprees, especially while in that Empowering Rift, which provides no protection itself. At the very least, you want to try to maintain 2 stacks of charge with light at all times in enemy dense situations, and having a positive feedback loop of acquiring elemental wells generated from grenade kills for charge with light stacks, and killing enemies with grenades for Empowering Rift refunds, on-demand healing, and elemental well generation. I hope this build was helpful. If you like build videos like these, do yourself a favor and subscribe so you can see my future ones on the new Strand subclasses and mod systems when Lightfall arrives. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.